Hey, I'm Courtney Brooke, and this is Hustle for Happiness podcast. We are all on this journey to find happiness, and let's face it, it takes work. And honestly, it's not always rainbows and butterflies. This podcast is dedicated to helping you navigate life and cut through the noise. As a certified life coach, recovering perfectionist, and survivor of the foster care system, I'm all about keeping things real. With my unique outlook on life that is truly infectious, we cover everything from achieving happiness and optimal self-care to stories of those sharing their wisdom and expertise. Thank you for showing up for yourself. Now, let's get started. Betsy, a native of San Diego, embarked on a remarkable journey from being a self-professed non-exerciser to becoming the inspirational owner of a thriving Pilates studio in the heart of San Diego called Salt Pilates. Her story isn't just about personal transformation. It's about the transformation of an entire community. Growing up, Betsy was far from your fitness enthusiast stereotype. Working out was really never part of her routine, and the gym was an alien environment. However, life has a way of surprising us. Betsy's life-changing encounter with Pilates ignited a passion within her that she never knew existed. Against the backdrop of the COVID-19 pandemic, a time when starting a business seemed like an unsurmountable challenge, Betsy fearlessly launched her Pilates studio. Instead of succumbing to uncertainty, she thrived, transforming her studio into a beacon of hope and empowerment in her community. Betsy's story serves as a powerful reminder that confidence isn't confined to the gym. It's a state of mind nurtured through dedication, resilience, and the support of a community. Her studio isn't merely a place to work out. It's a transformative space that empowers individuals to own their confidence, break down barriers, and redefine their narratives. Join us as we dive into Betsy's incredible journey and explore how Salt Pilates has become her instrument for building confidence, changing lives, and creating a tight-knit community in San Diego. Discover how she is shattering stereotypes, challenging conventions, and really inspiring others to embrace their unique paths towards confidence and a lasting happiness. Oh my gosh, you're here.
Here we go, girl.
I know. I'm so excited. Thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. Yay.
So I took your class and I just have to say, well, Betsy, please, I'm like so excited to have you here. Please, as like newer people are listening, what's your background? Tell us a little bit about
hi. I own Salt Pilates. We have 2 locations in San Diego as of today. Yes. And that's like my general background, I guess. I've been teaching forever. That's my quick little synopsis.
I mean, it's your life now. I mean, that's your baby. I mean,
everything.
I just think of like when you have a newborn baby, you're like, I'm a mom and I'm a mom and there's nothing else outside of that.
Like, I own the studio. My whole life is the studio.
My whole world. And it's like, wait, that's kind of true.
Nothing else. No, it's so true.
But you put your whole like blood, sweat, and tears in this, and you started when again?
December 2019.
So
like almost 4 years ago.
4 years ago, I wouldn't even say pre-pandemic because it was
it's
just like
pre-pandemic.
Teasing, like you put your toes in.
And pandemic.
All right, so Pilates studio. How did you come up with Pilates? Like, why Pilates out of all ideas?
So I've been teaching Pilates for about 10 years before I started before I opened Salt.
Okay.
But I was teaching all reformer Pilates and like all in the machinery. I am just like, I'm an innately good practitioner. Like Pilates just makes sense in my body. It's an exercise system that is made to make you better at every other form of exercise. So it's just like meant to make you better at life. And that's like the type of exercise that really speaks to me. But I wanted to make something that was way more fun than anything that was like available back then. So I spent a little time.
And if you've taken her class, I mean, I popped in on Betsy, surprise attacked you this last week.
The best surprise.
It was so good. I was like, well, if you're coming on the podcast, like it's the least I can do is support you. But if you're in San Diego, or if you're ever flying into San Diego, Pilates is like Pilates, but when you go to Salt Pilates and you
It's crazy.
drive it hard, is this energy, like the build up, the community, but the girls, and there's a guy in my class. So I think like that just goes to show you invite all walks of life.
Yep. Anyone who wants to do it, come on down. Come on down.
And what sets your studio apart? What do you feel like is the 3 things that would set your studio apart versus all these other Pilates studios in San Diego?
Okay, 3 things.
Yeah.
I think Salt was built to be the most fun workout available. And like fun is the top of my priority list. So I think we're more fun than anybody else.
I agree, because I think when you have a fun workout, like it's not hard. Like you go in and show up.
Exactly.
Like,
and like
the hard part is getting there. So if you're going to see your friends or your fun instructors, like why? That to me is
and
half
also
the battle.
like I feel like when the music's loud and everyone around you is like moving in sync, that like your brain sort of turns off a little bit and you're just like on autopilot, like, okay, we're just going, and like the beat is sort of setting the cadence, and as opposed to like your brain and your body setting the cadence. So it like I feel like makes it like a little more,
I think fun is important.
Autopilot. So yeah, fun for sure.
You go to studios and you're like, okay, it's like, don't get me wrong, there's studios with beautiful marketing out there, and you go in and you're like, what did I sign up for?
Or just like,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that dullness, it doesn't like relate when you go on like Instagram and you're like, wait, this is a really badass marketing, but then the studio was blah, or I didn't feel connected. So I think the fun
is number 1 forever.
Okay.
And due to that, we have fostered a fantastic community that I feel is like a tangible feeling when you walk into the space. And so that is number 2. Like we are definitely community driven girls.
Yes.
What was the question? 3 things that set us apart.
Set you apart.
And it's hard as fuck. And so I feel that's it.
Is there something
harder.
with the blue lights that?
No, I just think it's calming for like your brain. Like for me, like I'm like so stressed all the time, and then the second that I walk into that dark blue room, I'm like, okay, I feel a hell of a lot calmer.
And I feel really sexy in that blue lighting. Like I was like, dude, like
Avatar bitch.
I got fucking abs today, and it's 3:00. Like I didn't just wake up. I'm like 3:00 abs on a Pilates studio. That's cool.
Blue lights cure a myriad of sins.
I was like, blue light can't. I guess we need, like, if you can't tone it, stand under a blue light at Salt Pilates because like I'm serious. You need to feel comfortable.
Well, and I feel that like at a lot of Pilates studios, especially because like Salt is so different than every other Pilates studio, but it's a lot of bright lights, it's a lot of mirrors, and it's a lot of like staring at yourself or staring at other people. And I really wanted like a sensory deprivation tank. Like I really wanted it to be like a place where like you could sort of just like disappear, not in a bad way, like disappear into like the movement and the space, and like not be like staring around the room and like looking at everyone, like I sort of wanted it to be like more introspective.
And it's definitely that moody, and you can definitely feel like when I took your class, I did feel like I had the option to just be alone.
Right?
You know what I mean?
Even though you're in a room of 20
The class
people.
was packed.
Yeah.
The class was packed. The energy was there, but I could choose how much I wanted to enter into that room.
And I love that. That makes me really, really happy.
It's a good feeling because being intimidated, and for those just starting out and girls that have never really worked out before, that inclusion is so important.
1,000%. And also just like exercise in and of itself is so vulnerable. Like you, like regardless of where you are, whether you're in your house, whether you're doing things online or you're in a studio or you're running, whatever, like it's so vulnerable. And I feel like, especially in a place that you get as sweaty as Salt, because it's infrared and it makes you sweat. So like 7 times more than humidity based heat. And, like sweating makes you so vulnerable that I feel that, anything to make people feel more comfortable is really like what I want to facilitate.
And I think that's important. And so you touched on this aspect of community as being one of your 3 pillars as to why Salt Pilates. During the pandemic, how did you rely on your community to get this business going? Because you started December 2019, COVID hit March 2020.
I know.
4 months. You probably
Crazy.
just got in your groove and you got your ass kicked. I mean, explain.
I feel that, well, we've always, in my mind, from day one of opening Salt, I treated it like it was the biggest deal in the world. So even though we were like, a little rinky-dink studio, like in my mind, I was like, we're bigger than Core Power. And so even like when we shut down, I was like, okay, like we're still hustling. Look at us. We're this big deal. We have to keep hustling.
Right.
And I feel that our team, we've always had a team, like a large team, because we have a lot of classes going on. So we have a lot of girls that work at Salt. And I feel like that bond of our team really carried the community. Like it was the only, as far as I was aware, like it was the only outdoor fitness classes that were consistent. Like we like opened an outdoor studio and we were having like 3 classes a day. And so like during COVID, it was like the only social thing that you could really do, you know, it was like outdoor fitness. And I just ran with it. And like, God bless it. It just like, it ended up being like a really fun little chapter in time where like every single person in the world, but in San Diego, like needed something to do and to distract themselves. And so we gave them that little thing.
I mean, I think that's so special. Businesses you can overthink, and small businesses as big as Google or a small business like a local coffee shop. Right? Yeah. But you seem to have that confidence that we're going to fucking make it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I hear that in your voice. Like, there is no failing. There is no option. And
failure is not an option.
And I think that, and failure, like these cliche or
yeah, I don't even really know what failure is.
Failure, yeah. But you weren't going to go under.
No.
Salt wasn't going to be no salt, right? And I hear that, and you use the community. You used COVID as a like trauma bonding, essentially. Like
honestly, yeah. And no one's ever said it to me, but yeah,
you know,
that's
like
exactly
you guys are all
what it was.
scared. I hear you guys all coming together, and you know, usually when we're scared, we pull back and isolate.
Yeah.
But I heard that you said no. You reached out more. Mm-hmm. You used your big team of girls and said, "Hey, let's pull this together."
And I feel like let's shine even brighter than we were before, because people need it so much more. You know, like
right.
I feel that was like a time in my life when I saw like just how powerful the fitness community can be. And like even like I've been teaching in studios for years. Like since I was like 21 years old, I've been teaching in Pilates studios, and I've just like never had a community like the one that we have created here. And I think it is because we trauma bonded, and we have just been through the ringer together, and we survived. And you know, we don't have high turnover. Like the girls that have been with me from the beginning are still with me because like we're like a little family now.
Well, and you guys came together at such a crucial time, and this business is your baby, like you said. So background, you haven't always been a fitness enthusiast, right?
No.
How did you get into Pilates? Like, if you're not a fitness girly and you just stumbled on it, I know you mentioned in a previous podcast, your mom actually brought
my
you.
Mom. And my mom is like, I come from a very athletic family. My dad was a triathlete. He did like race across America on his bike, and his team won. He's a lunatic in the best way, but I come from just like a very fit family. And I feel that like when you're younger and things are like pushed on you, like I just naturally am like, I want to be against the grain. And so I like never dove into like team sports or like anything so crazy. Like I went to the Jewish Academy, so I was on the volleyball team. I was captain of my volleyball team. We never won a game. Like we were not, we weren't a good volleyball team. Yeah.
Okay.
But I have always really struggled with anxiety. I'm the most anxious girl.
Yeah.
And so even when I was younger, like my parents would be like, go to the gym and work out. It's like the best thing you can do for your anxiety. And I like, it just like never clicked in my brain until I was older. And as I said, I'm like just innately good at Pilates. Like my body just clicks in my body. And so I think that when I like was struggling to find community, I went to like my local Pilates studio and like just started doing it and did the teacher training just to like deepen my practice.
Yeah.
But not only am I innately good at Pilates, I'm just like born to be an instructor. And so from the first class that I taught in that teacher training, I was like, this is just what I'm meant to be doing. So I feel that like it was like an unobvious road in the beginning, like when I was younger, but like from the second I started doing it, I was like, oh, this is exactly what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And there's nothing else for you. And so now I've done sort of like a 180 and I'm just like all Pilates all day.
You really are. And I think it's really cool how you mentioned, you know, when things are pushed on to us, we don't want to do them or we're deterred. And you allowed yourself, rather than trying to fit in and go with the grain and be even the grain of your family. And we all have these familiar pressures of fitting in with our own families. Yep. And I'm sure you had to work through a lot of that. And then comes to find out on the other end, a full circle moment is
now I'm the biggest athlete in the whole family.
She's not only an athlete, but has her studio around fitness.
Yeah, my whole life, yeah.
So with your anxiety and your family and being athletic, why did you resist? What made you want to resist?
Oh my God, that's such a good question. I feel that I just always like felt like a little different than them. They're, you know, like my mom and my sister, my dad are all like very similar people. And I'm just like a little bit of the black sheep in a good way.
But you were okay with it.
Yeah, now I am.
Yeah. And how did you overcome that? How did you work from like fighting it to just accepting it with yourself?
I think it's just like becoming secure in yourself. And like the older that you get, the more in tune with yourself you are and the more you know yourself. And I feel that like I spent so much of my time when I was younger, like fighting against silly things that have like no relevance to my life in any way now. And now I'm just like, oh, you wasted so much energy.
Oh my gosh. But if we loved that person that made those decisions.
Exactly. No, because she brought me here.
Right. And all those resisting and, you know, it's using that resistance in such a positive way that, you know, okay, maybe I am meant for this, but in my own way. Like I hear constant patterns and of our conversation today is just doing you, believing in you and going against the grain. I mean, you go against the grain constantly.
Thank you.
And how do you not conform? Like, how do you, walk the listeners through your mental process of just standing out? Like, how do you not let those...
well, I don't like live my life trying to stand out, but I live my life like trying to be authentic to myself. And I feel that, you know, it takes time to figure out what is authentic to you and like what actually like rings true for each person. Yeah. But I also feel that like once you figure that out, the more, I don't know, just like the happier your life is when you're not trying to please other people. You're just trying to please yourself and how much more successful you'll be when you're not like, I don't know, creating things that aren't true for you. You know, like Salt is truly like a personification of me in a workout, in a space, in my team, like in everything. Like it's truly just like a physical extension of me. And I think that that's why I'm still having fun and B, like why it's going well, you know, because it's true to me.
Right. And I think we're all on this journey again. I mean, hence the title Hustle for Happiness. We're on this journey. Like it's a hustle. You've worked towards it. I mean, you go back to childhood and it's still resurfacing in our adulthood and your adulthood life of just wanting to fit in. And I think when you finally figure out that groove and, you know, you probably have fought it a little bit for your whole life, but maybe that fighting is really what's trying to get you back to you. And it's rather than that fighting is listen to it. And I hear that you're finally listening to it and you're thriving.
Thank you. Well, and I think that what you said earlier is so important is like, thank you to the old versions of myself that like maybe I wasn't so kind to when I was younger, but like, thank God that everything happened the way that it did because I'm very happy with the way that I've ended up and like the conversations I have with myself about myself in my head.
It's like that, giving that grace because we're all human and you didn't have the wisdom you had today.
Exactly.
Then, right? Yeah. And Matthew McConaughey's book touches on this where he talks about green lights. Like it was a red light, like my anxiety, my depression, not being being the black sheep, all these potential red lights.
Right.
But
turn them into green.
Turn them into like your green full circle moment is, you know, I had anxiety, but Pilates cures it. Yeah. You know, I wasn't athletic, but I'm using my athletic abilities to run a business. Like,
but I feel like one of my favorite little like quotey things is your mess is your message. And like really like you wouldn't, don't you think?
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Yeah. Because I feel that like those hardships and those struggles like wouldn't be placed in your path if there wasn't some bigger purpose for them or some way that you can use that to like help other people around you.
And I think there's like that testament, like if anyone's going through like a hard time in their life, like you might not see that green light now, but just know like something great on the other side of it.
Change.
Like I really believe in that. And like James and I are going through one of the businesses is not doing so well. And it's just because we have to like post-COVID, clean up some shit. You know, it's part of the business cycle, but I'm getting stronger for it. Like if we can see through that, instead of this poor me, I think a lot of people like my life this, or I'm a single mom, I'm this, my job sucks. You like, I hear that you have control. Like there's control more than people think.
I know, but also like I feel like it's important to be like graceful to yourself when you're going through stressful times, just to like remember like just not to like just make it all quotes, but Tom Hanks also had this fantastic quote where it was like, this too shall pass. Like if something's horrible, this too shall pass. If something's great, this too shall pass.
Right.
And that's just, especially like when things are like so stressful, it's like, okay, it's not going to be stressful forever. We've made it before. We know we can make it again. And I think it's just like, that's really what builds confidence, is like making it through all of these hurdles and like looking back and being like, oh, okay, I made it and I could do that and I can handle whatever is coming for me next.
And then when you touched on that, like the good parts, this too shall pass. Like, yes, like ride those highs as long, but I visualizing.
Don't get too comfortable.
A roller coaster, like that roller coaster high, but it's not going to last forever. Douche. Okay, it's getting hard again. So it's like gratitude. And I think that's so important, is like acknowledging just where we're at and whatever situation, good, bad, ugly. And I try not to actually label things good or bad, because I feel like when you label things good or bad, then
everything turns out good.
Exactly. It really does.
That's why like I don't really like labeling failure. Like nothing fails. Like it just changes and evolves.
Absolutely. Do you have any personal stories or examples of overcoming self-doubt and strengthening mental and physical confidence through Pilates?
You know, I feel that Pilates is such an aggressive exercise system that is meant to be the most graceful thing, right? Like it's meant to look like the easiest shit in the world, but it is so fucking hard.
It is.
So Pilates like all originates from this classical mat work.
Okay.
That like really is like what inspires Salt. And Salt classes on top of classical mat Pilates. I mean, like we added infrared heat that makes it way fucking harder.
Yeah.
And I feel that just the practice of that, and I practice every day. I go to Salt like 5 days a week.
Yeah.
Is like mental fortitude, but in your body. So like every day you're like training yourself, like I can fucking do hard things because I just survived this torture session. And so that for me is like my tangible, like confidence building stuff, that like if I like put my body through the ringer and like, which is in turn like putting my mind through the ringer, then like everything else sort of feels like a hell of a lot easier. And again, like it's doing this life of roller coaster life.
Building that, like what I'm hearing is emotional and mental resilience. Like you put yourself through a controlled, like it's completely controlled going through your class. So it's, if you don't push yourself, like those little moments of, I call them micro moments of confidence. Like Pilates, you can walk away as much as you want, but you can also go hard as you want to. And again, to your comment of like building those moments of mental resilience is pushing yourself and believing yourself and not being afraid.
And not being afraid to stay comfortable. Like I feel that like staying comfortable is sort of like the devil's playground, and that like you always need to be pushing yourself a little bit, and it's like very easy to be like resting on your laurels. And I just try to challenge myself as much as I can, because I feel that again, it builds mental fortitude and resilience, and it prepares you for all these other challenges. Like if I didn't exercise, I would be an insane person, and I probably wouldn't be able to handle my life very
the anxiety
well.
Like they go straight, like this Eastern medicine is, or Western medicine, everything's about medicine. And Eastern is to feel the pain, feel the emotions, work through that. And I think like the quick fix is like not there. You've done your whole life. You have proof through working out, that through your Pilates, that you found something that works for you. You don't have to be on a pill or go see the doctor every week, or, so I think that finding something that works for you and connect with yourself. So when you're not in the Pilates studio, how are you building your confidence, and how do you keep pushing that resilience?
It's really just like keeping promises to myself. I feel like, like even today, right? Like I'm like, oh, a gloomy day. I would love to stay in bed and like just like not even go anywhere or do anything. But it's really just like following through on everything that you say you're going to follow through. And I think is like the biggest key to confidence. That's an Ed Milet thing. But that for me is like the biggest trick. I can't really pinpoint like a specific like incidents where I walked away and was like, oh, I am like worlds more confident. I feel that it's like a I'm 34, so 34 years of dealing with low level, high level traumas and coming out on the other end like happy with the person that I am, happy with how I responded in those situations, and proud of myself for keeping my head screwed on my shoulders. And so I feel that like all those like little things lead to bigger things.
I'm so big on like little moments add up, because how serious you take
those.
That's
our life.
I know, but if you take that moment and like don't brush it off, but the moment you start taking yourself seriously in every moment of your life, your whole life is going to be taken seriously.
Yeah.
And it's going to be leading to those bigger moments. And it's as simple as brushing your fucking hair, though. Like people, whatever. Or making your, I know those are such little like things that people talk about. Whatever that is for someone, it could be brushing their teeth. Not everyone makes their bed. I get that. But find that thing and take it
that makes
serious.
You feel productive.
But be serious. And it's like, should be one of the first tasks you do at that day, because it sets you up. So if it's booking that 6 a.m. Pilates class, you've already done that first task 100%.
Totally. You will never see me at a 6 a.m. Pilates class.
No.
But
yes, but there are 6 a.m. Pilates. Aren't there early classes?
No, there's tons of them. You won't see me there.
That's okay. I'm crackhead energy. Like,
I agree. I feel like, oh, good for you. She's a hustler.
I try. Well, I'm in bed by 9.
Yeah, I'm also in bed by 9, but I'm sleeping.
But I love that you are embracing that you are you. And I want to touch on like, you're like, no, I don't wake up early. You don't have to wake up early to be successful.
No,
and
I know.
I'm tired of like people saying 5 a.m. club. It's like, what if you're a nurse that works till 3 a.m. and then their Monday isn't till Wednesday? Like this hustle mentality of doing
is different for everyone.
And it's so different for everyone. And I want to like go back like 2 sentences ago about keeping your promise to yourself.
Keep them.
I used to be really bad at that. I had to work very hard at that. And I think that's a really thing that people don't talk about.
Yeah, like when it's not, when you don't realize the positive repercussions that come from keeping your promises to yourself. Like, it's sort of like a passive kind of thing. Like, oh, I'll get to that tomorrow. It doesn't really matter. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like little things
lingers.
keep happening. And then in a month, 6 months, you look back and you're like, oh, I didn't even really get anything accomplished. And then I think is like when you realize and you're like, oh, I need to like hold myself accountable to myself.
And being the advocate of our own lives. Like no one's going to freaking start Salt Pilates.
Nope, no one's going to do it for you.
No one's going to do it for you. And I think that's so key. And I'm currently in 75 hard right now.
Oh my God, good for you. What day are you on?
I'm on day 44.
Oh, you're moving right along.
My theory is like the time's going to pass anyways. Might as well
2 workouts a day, gallon of water a day.
It's a lot of walking. So people try to,
it's a lot of water.
I'm 100-ounce girly. I've decided. But I do a gallon for this challenge, but I like 100 ounces.
Yeah. Like, a gallon of water for me is what makes 75 hard.
Yeah,
hard.
It's hard.
Yeah,
I can't even.
I've never done it.
I can't even get through the walks. I have to stop 20 minutes to go pee. I'm like, this is bullshit.
Exactly. You're just peeing all day.
I'm just peeing all day. But I started that to build my word with myself. I was constantly like, I'm going to do a challenge and I never complete, or I'm going to finish this one project with one of the businesses, or I just kept dropping and I was like, gosh,
75 hard is like the best.
I call it my chemotherapy.
Yeah,
like I don't have cancer,
it's your medicine,
but it's my medicine in terms of I'm cleaning shit out of my life that doesn't serve me, and 75 hard isn't for everyone. But
also in 75 days you are going to be.
75 is different than 40 days.
Totally.
Anyone can do anything for 30 days. I think that it's the integrity piece. I really do. No one's watching me.
I'm excited for you.
I know. It's really cool. It's rewarding. I think along the lines of like how you're living with integrity. I'm a challenge girly. I need that fire under my ass.
And I like what you said, like no one's watching me, because no one is, but it doesn't even fucking matter because it's not their life, it's your life. And
but
so
I'm doing it for my resilience.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important.
I'm
excited to share with you that I came up with a whole bag of trauma. Like I have a huge bag of trauma, and no one's going to clean that up but me.
Yeah.
And I need to take out my own trash. Meaning,
1,000%. And if you don't, it's just going to overflow into everybody around you.
You're going to get anxiety. You're going to, the people in your life. Anyways, so when it comes to balancing work and life, what strategies or tools have you found most effective in ensuring you stay confident, grounded, and fulfilled in both areas?
Okay.
I know you wear a ton of hats.
That is a struggle for me.
Is it?
It's a big struggle for me. My life is very intertwined. Most of my best friends work at Salt, and we are like, you know, like there's not a big separation of like personal and business life for me, which other people might view as a problem. I don't. I kind of love it that like that, you know, everything sort of overflows in the most positive way. I do spend my biggest trick to like maintain my personal sanity is I do spend a remarkable amount of time by myself.
Yeah.
Just because like I feel energy is so transferable. Yeah. I am performing for my job for a lot of the time. And I not only on, but it's just like it's like I'm giving a lot. I'm giving a lot of myself.
Yeah.
And in order to do that well, you know, you can't be on 24 hours a day. You need
no one can.
No one.
No one can. And if you are, then like you're gonna be burned out.
Right. And even like I just need a lot of time alone with my dog is really my biggest trick.
You heard it. Get a dog if you don't have one.
That's what I heard. I recommend a wire hair Jack Russell. Personally, they're the best from Mexico.
Straight up.
And outdoor walks. But I have to be alone. Like I need to like, I really use like outdoor walking as like my own little personal therapy. But those are really my biggest tricks. I wouldn't say that I'm a girl who's like really mastered the balance of personal and work life. I'm in this phase of my life at least, like I'm on all business, bitch. So
you're in your business girl era.
It's Salt.
Have you always been a person that enjoys hanging out alone, or if you had to work
I am a social butterfly. And I was like never even like so like driven in the business world. Like when I was younger, like really I didn't care about school, I didn't care about anything. Like I just cared about socializing and going to parties and hanging out with my friends. I don't really think like anyone thought I was gonna, like anyone like close to me in my life was like, that girl's gonna make it, like she's gonna be a big success, because I was just like, parties, like let's go, let's go and have fun.
That was your social girl era.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel that like actually maybe one of the best things about Salt is that I've sort of taken that social butterfly like la da 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 and translated it like into a business, because now that's like my little peach pit, and I get to like go and see all my friends, and like it's work and play.
So you've had to really work on, so the separation for you is really creating that alone time to create that fulfillment piece and balance outside of work.
Yeah. And to be able to show up efficiently and effectively and as like the best version of myself, you know, like there's like so much behind the scenes stuff going on that like, and then you have to like go and hold space for 20 people and, you know, like be, I like to call it the bright spot in people's day, because that's really what it is.
They're looking towards you.
And you can't bring that positivity to other people when you're like, I'm fucking furious over emails and this is like the worst day, you know, like, so I just protect my energy as much as I can.
And when you protect your energy, like easier said than done. I mean, you have days that just irk you. You have people that, you know, your energy transfers, as you said earlier. What's your self-management practice? Like, how do you overcome, say you have to come into the studio right after something shitty happens. Like, that does happen.
Okay, well, so, and that's the great thing about the dark room. The dark room. And even like yesterday when I was at the studio, I was really tired. I honestly feel like exhausted. Even in this moment, like I could be asleep. It's like 11 a.m.
Is it because of work?
I just think I'm like, I'm a little overwhelmed. And so
I love that you're sharing that.
I'm tired. And even as I was like greeting people, like I was nothing but friendly and great, but like I could like feel in myself, like I was like a little slouchy and like my eyes were a little droopy. I was so tired. And then I walked into the physical studio, closed the door, turned on the heat, put on my microphone, and I was like, all right, showtime, bitch. It's like the Sasha Fierce thing. It's not even me. It's like this other version of me. And then I go back out. I'm instantly buzzed after that because I feel like it's hard
you're kind of working out too with us.
Totally, but also like, I don't know, it's like it's a pretty powerful feeling, and
it is.
You get to like, not only was there like a shift in my energy where I was like so tired and then energized afterwards, but you get to see like everybody else is like, oh my God, I'm in such a much better mood. And that always like helps turn it around for me. But it's the microphone in the dark room, I think.
I mean, and that fulfilling piece is, I mean, I hear a lot of just Salt is ingrained within you, and it's your outlet, it's your vice, it's your passion, it's your friends, it's your social life. You've taken all the things that you're trying to encompass into Salt, and it does checks a lot of boxes for you.
Yeah, I like when you say it's my vice, because it is my vice,
hear it's like your vice, your muse, it's your healing. She's
everything.
It's everything. And I think that people say, oh, you have to have balance, but you don't. And I love that you're just,
it'll come in 10 years. And it'll be there.
Yeah, exactly. And I also feel like you know you, and this thing of having balance and turning off. And, you know, if you put everything like you've done and created into your business,
where's the separation?
There's balance within it all. I mean, you say you should separate with friends and stuff, but you attract a girl that you want to be friends with that
and
works
also,
for
like,
you.
Says who? Do you know what I mean?
That's what
I feel that I don't know, there's so many expectations, or like not even expectations, but just like okay, like go and start your day, and like these are all the things that you're supposed to do, and it's like says fucking who?
Says
like,
who
cares?
I want people to start questioning more.
Yeah.
I really want people to like question more, because okay, let's talk about your routine. Do you have a routine as a business owner?
No.
And are you okay with that?
100%.
And I love that. Like and I think that's real and raw and authentic, and that's not on your plate. Like not every day is you do the same thing. You wear a lot of hats in your business.
And that's the thing, is like if I had a routine, it would be fucked every day, because every day looks a little different for me, and so it's hard to stay consistent.
And so throughout your day, you have your consistencies. Mm-hmm. That's how I do it, because we travel so much. I wear multiple hats in my business. You got to do what's best for you depending on the day. I live day to day.
Yeah, have to. And I feel like we can only wrap our minds around so much, you know, and like for me at least, like looking one day ahead, that's just enough.
But doesn't that allow us to be so present? Mm-hmm. If we're only worried about the next day ahead, you'll probably program your walk right when you need it. Why wake up every day with that 6 o'clock
and also to
walk?
Like move authentically, you know, like
when
like
you feel it.
Especially as a woman, like I feel that like we're so connected to like our circadian rhythm and our cycles and, you know, like different times of the month and everything. And I think it's like so important to not just be like, especially for your cortisol levels, like go, like regardless of how you feel or what's going on and like just get it fucking done. And I'm like, I'm much more chill than that.
And you have to be. I feel like
go with the flow.
Being tense all day, but going with the flow, saying like, okay, what's my day look like? And listening to your body when you need that walk versus I need to be robotic and I have the same routine every single day. I'm sorry, but I have, as much as I want to stick to the routine, it's just like
not effective.
It's not effective.
Yeah. And it ends up causing you more stress than anything.
And anxiety. And I didn't have to have it. It's like almost like a little OCD. Mm-hmm. They're teaching OCD, scratch the morning routine, but just what are your intentions for the day and fit that in? I mean, don't get me wrong, bone broth first thing. Okay. You know, that's whatever. But I love that you're just fuck that.
Calm. Yeah. I feel I have like strong OCD tendencies, and I am a girl who like suffers from anxiety. So if I set like rules for myself in my head, we're like, all right, 6 a.m. walks, like make your bed the second you wake up, like do all this stuff. It's like it'll send me into like a little tailspin and I'll do all of that stuff, but I will like sacrifice my mental health like just to get it done.
Right. And I think that's takes the joy
even though it's like the stuff that's supposed to be enhancing your mental health.
And it does that reverse. So my like, I don't quote or whatever, but how I live is like, if it takes the joy out, why do it? Like
thousands.
Like just step back.
Put a fucking pin in it. Put it right at the top.
Yeah, chill out.
That's 1,000. I completely agree with you.
So confidence, we've talked a lot about it. If you guys don't follow Betsy, please follow her because she exudes confidence. And
Thank you.
I need to know your secret sauce, but it's like you carry it so well and you wear a lot of hats and people see you and look up to everyone in your classes and even in the community. What are tips for listeners just to start their day today? like
I think you need confidence. I think like the main trick to confidence is like realizing that nobody gives a shit about you. I actually had like,
no one's watching.
I remember like when Salt like first opened, and I had an ex-boyfriend who, when we were together, he would be like very unhappy with me if I was like posting photos of myself or was like doing any attention seeking kind of behavior. Like he was always like, why do you need this much attention? Like you don't, like that's weird for you to do that. You don't need attention. And so yeah, exactly. And it made me really insecure. It's honestly only something I've recently gotten over, and that was like 4 years ago, like right when Salt opened.
It's probably that little voice in your head.
Yeah, every day.
Yeah.
Why are you attention seeking? But regardless, when Salt, like when we did our Instagram and all that stuff, like it was like a mood board kind of thing. Like it wasn't like all photos of me because I didn't want to be attention seeking and I didn't want people talking about me behind my back being like, oh my God, she thinks she's the shit. And now 4 years later, I'm like, no one would have been, if they were talking about you, those aren't people that you want in your life anyways. Get rid of them. Who needs people like that?
Yeah.
But also, no one's really talking about you. And so it doesn't matter. And you need to just do things that are, again, authentic to you. I feel that the more in tune with yourself you are, the more you put yourself out there, the more your message is going to be received. You know, like if it was like me, like doing uphill sprints on a treadmill and like posting videos of myself, I think people would all be like, what is she doing? Because I like, and people who know me are like, that bitch doesn't fucking run. Like, what's she doing? Exactly. Yeah. But like everything feels, or at least like for me, like I'm not putting myself out there in ways that aren't authentic to me. And so I feel that makes me feel comfortable with the stuff that I'm putting out into the world, because it would have been out there anyways, because it's me and that's just what I'm going to do.
I feel like that's a huge thing, because we always hear the opinions of others of why you shouldn't do this, or it's going to be scary, or, you know, I have a friend starting a business and they're like, oh, you're going to get, but everyone has their opinion versus just saying, hey, I'm here to support you. It's going to be a scary journey, and acknowledging it and supporting. Yeah. But I feel like
the people who are judging you are the people who wouldn't have been doing it anyways.
Yeah, they're afraid.
Or who couldn't have done it anyways. Yeah. And that's okay. They can sit in their closet and judge.
And that's letting go of those thoughts.
It's hard.
What was a turning point when you're like, okay, I need to let go of those thoughts of my ex? How did you break free of that?
You know, I think I've come really far just as an independent woman. And, you know, like I've been single since that relationship. I've been single the whole time that Salt's been open. Yeah. And I actually love it. I feel that like a relationship like would have slowed me down, but also I had like a lot of healing to do and a lot of my personal work to do. But I feel that it's like spending time doing the work by myself and not like jumping into another relationship and looking for validation from other people and really like taking the time to find that validation from myself. Salt Success has like obviously made that easier, because when your business is crushing, you feel like you're crushing.
Yeah, and it's hard to probably not get dependent on that. Like we said, the highs will last and lows will.
The lows are right around the corner.
Right, but it's that gratitude, and you know, I think that's so important. Like society's like, I mean, starting at Disney movies, finding your Prince Charming, or building a business with this, and you're like, wait, I don't need to seek validation with the guy to do the things I want to do. Like the guy will come. My dreams, I want to start now.
Yeah, exactly, and like I think like one of my biggest problems was like I felt like I needed validation from other people before I could like move forward. And now I'm like, you don't need anyone's approval but your own. You're fully capable and confident of doing everything and more that you ever thought that you could. And I feel that that's really like the turning point.
Did you wake up thinking that, or you're like, was it like an ultimate frustration that came over you? And like, what am I fucking waiting for? Or,
no, I feel that like, you know, it's like 1 minute by the next, 1 foot in front of the other, and then like suddenly you like look back 4 years later and you're like, oh, I'm a completely different person. Yes. So no, there was like no like day where I woke up and I was like, oh my God, what's up?
Salt Pilates.
Yeah, like new bitch in town. But like now, like when I'm like asked that question and I like think back on it, I'm like, oh yeah, you are a very different person now than you were in the beginning.
And what just popped up into my head was, you know, who you surround yourself with really determines how well you succeed.
My gosh.
Like your ex was, I mean, not a huge part of why you're doing this, but it's why you didn't do it, right?
People who rally for you.
And the community you've surrounded with, and the friends, and trusting. And I'm sure as starting up your first business, it's like, who do you delegate to? Who do you ask for help with? Because that's forever.
Who do you trust? Yeah.
Who do you trust? And you hear about like, you hear all the negatives, but I really believe that surrounding yourself with people that are going to set you up for success. Like it's, my thing is, it takes a freaking village, and you can see that with your Salt Pilates studio.
Yeah. I think that's to your point, like so important to surround yourself with people who rally behind you and who inspire you and who are better than you. You know, like you can't be like the top of the pyramid. You need to have people around you that you can learn from and you can grow from and make you into a better person. And I feel very lucky. I have that. I mean,
you can see it. You feel it, and like it makes me so happy seeing a community that you fostered and built all because of like your dream. And you know, when I hear those comments of, you know, you shouldn't do that, you shouldn't do it, you're like, okay, maybe I shouldn't be your friend. Yeah. Maybe I shouldn't be telling you things. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like those are the types of people I need to weed out.
Totally. And I'm actually I will cut friends loose at a moment's notice. Like if I feel that it's a drain for me personally, then it's not something that I'm going to spend my time with.
And when you do cut those people out of your life, I mean, it's hard at first. It's hard. You're putting yourself out there, but you're also making the commitment to yourself. That's how
I feel that like you can make the decision to stay in toxic situations with friends or partners, whatever. You by all means, like you can stay, but it's gonna you're gonna stay in that place.
But don't blame
forever.
the other person is how I see it.
1,000%. And like if you like choose yourself and you want to like elevate and grow, then all you can do is.
I mean, I see us letting go of people as like it doesn't need to be dramatic. It doesn't need to be a fight.
And it's not like a huge cut of the cord. It's just like you take your space, I take my space.
Yeah, and you have to like, it's a matter of fact. And it's not, I mean, easier said than done, but I do commend you on that. Like taking some time to reflect and review the people in your life that are bringing you down. Like a year-end review on the people you have in your life, because you guys, community is a huge part of why your business is so great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
So let's just wrap it up with some closing questions from some.
Oh my God, we flew her on by.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy how fast. Yeah, we're super
chatty girls.
I love that. So many of our listeners are eager to follow your journey. Can you reveal any upcoming opportunities for them to be a part of your studio's growth and success? Any exciting things coming?
There's so much exciting things coming.
Always.
The really exciting things I can't talk about.
So go to her Instagram.
But just know that things are happening. And that we're expanding. But amazing. On top of that, like in San Diego at our existing Salts now, we have a bunch of trainings coming up. So if you wanted to be on our team, this is your chance to be on our team.
And what do you look for in a team member? Like, do you have to have Pilates experience? I think I saw in your story.
We do 2 different types of trainings now. We have a classical mat Pilates training that's 6 weeks, like deep dive into the classical work. Even though Salt is not a classical studio, we like I myself was not well trained at all. Like I sort of had to teach myself Pilates, and I've been to like endless certifications and endless training programs. I never liked them. I always had a horrible time. And I always sort of left a little confused. Like I never felt like things were explained to me like so clearly and concisely. And I feel that I needed to do something to change that. So we created like the best classical Pilates training program ever. That's just like nitty gritty and perfect. Yeah. But that prepares you to be the best classical Pilates trainer ever. Yeah. But it doesn't train you to be a Salt Bae. So then we have a Salt teacher trainer.
Salt Bae. Did you hear that? They have that's really cute.
That's what we call ourselves, for Salt Baes.
And those listening, where can they find you?
For Salt, you can find us at Sweat Salt on Instagram. And for me, I'm Betsy Blumenfeld.
All right. Well, there you have it. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Courtney. I had the best time.
I did too. As we conclude this episode with Betsy, one thing shines through so brightly, and that's the journey to confidence is truly a remarkable one. Betsy's story reminds us that confidence isn't about never facing doubts or challenges. It's about how you navigate through them. Her insights on maintaining a positive mindset, embracing vulnerability, and practicing self-care are invaluable. These aren't just words, they're the key to unlocking your own inner strength. Remember, you're not alone on this journey. Community like the one Betsy has cultivated can be a pillar of your support. Lean on it just as Betsy does. So as we wrap up today, take Betsy's example to heart. Whether you're aiming for personal or professional growth, your mindset is your most powerful tool. Embrace the journey, confront the challenges, and emerge stronger and more confident on the other side. Thank you for joining us in this genuine exploration of confidence. Keep hustling for happiness and never stop pursuing your path to lasting confidence and fulfillment. Until next time, stay true to your journey. I hope today's episode left you better than when I found you. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and tune in every Monday to kickstart your week and set your weekly intentions with me. You can find me and HFH on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, or online at heycourtneybrooke.com. I firmly believe in the power of sharing. If you know someone else who would benefit from this podcast, please share it with them. And remember, when you work on you, I get to be there.